Since today is St. Patrick's Day, it seems like a good day to talk about the Guinness family, specifically Arthur Edward Guinness, the first Baron Ardilaun. Welcome back to Yesterqueers. My name's Amanda, and I'm a public historian of queer history. If you're a Peaky Blinders fan, then you may also have watched Stephen Knight's newest series, House of Guinness, when it premiered on Netflix in September. In it, Arthur Guinness, played by Anthony Boyle, is a gay man trying to keep a relationship with another man's secret while also fulfilling his role as eldest son and heir to the Guinness dynasty. But is it true? Probably. For a family that has had such a massive impact on Irish and British politics, not to mention on the global brewing industry, there is remarkably little personal information available about the first few generations of the Guinness family. The best information that I found is in this 2009 book by Joe Joyce. Arthur Edward Guinness was born November 1st, 1840 in Dublin, the eldest child of Sir Benjamin Guinness and his wife Elizabeth. There are a lot of Arthur Guinnesses, but the one that we're talking about today is the great-grandson of the first Arthur Guinness, who founded the Guinness Brewery. As the eldest son, Arthur was educated at Eton and then at Trinity College, Dublin, while his sister Anne and his two younger brothers, Lee and Edward, were educated locally, and Edward actually started working at the brewery when he was just 15. When Benjamin Guinness died in May of 1868, his estate was the largest that the Irish probate system had ever seen. It would be valued at about £168 million today. All of his children were taken care of, but Arthur and Edward inherited the brewery together, and as the eldest son, Arthur also inherited his father's baronetcy and his seat in Parliament. 3 years later, Arthur married Lady Olivia Charlotte Hedges White, the daughter of the 3rd Earl of Bantry. According to Joe Joyce, Arthur and Olivia had what's known as a mariage blanc, a French term that translates to white marriage, and means that the two agreed in advance that their marriage would never be consummated. And as far as we know, it wasn't. Arthur and Olivia never had any children, nor did Arthur father any children outside of his marriage. But the two didn't live separate lives. Arthur and Olivia were apparently quite close, and they were renowned for their entertaining. So it's likely that the celibate nature of their marriage suited them both. Without letters or journals to provide context, this is thin evidence that Arthur was gay. He may simply have been asexual. But if he was gay, he would not have been the first Arthur Guinness to be queer. Arthur's uncle, Arthur Lee Guinness, was described as a sensitive soul who wrote poetry and collected art. He had a particular fondness for Greek statuary and even used a, quote, young Greek god as his personal seal. In 1839, Arthur Lee almost certainly had a romantic relationship with famed Irish playwright and actor Dion Bouciceau when Bouciceau was working as a clerk at the Guinness Brewery. The evidence for this comes not only from decades of word of mouth, but also from a letter that Arthur wrote to his father in June of that year, asking his father to forgive him for conduct that was, quote, impossible to justify. Arthur Lee left the Guinness Brewery partnership shortly after that letter was written, and Dion left the country entirely, surfacing in London in May of 1840 with, quote, sufficient money to buy a horse and entertain lavishly. Our Arthur, Arthur Edward, also eventually left the brewery, selling his share to his brother Edward in 1876 for £600,000, about £90 million in today's dollars. He devoted most of the rest of his life to philanthropy, including restoring Dublin's Marsh's Library, funding an addition to Coombe Women's Hospital, and sponsoring a company that built affordable housing for poor Dubliners. But Arthur is probably best known for St. Stephen's Green, a beautiful park right in the center of Dublin, that he bought, landscaped, and gave to the city of Dublin via a parliamentary bill. Arthur Edward Guinness died January 20th, 1915. He's commemorated with a statue at St. Stephen's Green. That's it for today. As always, more information, including sources and further reading, is available in the usual place.